Welcome to Flights, the podcast where we uncork the secrets to running a successful destination wedding and group travel business. Each episode, we will explore the good, bad, and ugly of destination weddings while sipping on the finest wines from our pantries.
As your hosts, we believe in savoring the journey with a glass of wine in hand. Join us, Mario Lopez and Ashley Morris of Destination Wedding University, as we explore all of the adventures and misadventures that we experience in this crazy industry.
Hello. What's that?
These cups were a good buy. Like these little. Do you use yours? Because I use mine all the time.
I use mine all the time. Although this morning I am chugging my coffee. So.
Oh, well, mine's too hot because these cups work so well. Thank you, Yeti. They work so well that it's burning my tongue. So I have to take the lid off for a little bit. No wine today because it's Friday morning, and that would be irresponsible.
Irresponsible.
Not to say it hasn't been done before, but the wine I sent you last night was from the Bright Cellars Wine Club. Is that the wine club you do?
No, mine's Naked Wines.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. It was pretty good actually. It was kind of weird drinking a cab in the spring because I feel like it's too warm for that, but it was only 47 degrees here yesterday, so it felt just fine.
Yeah, that's I was talking to my friend this morning and he was telling me that it's like 40 degrees back home. He's like, it's like a really nice crisp morning. I'm like, go to hell, that sounds awful. I live in South Florida now. I can't, anything below 60, I'm out. I can't do it.
Oh, because that's when your iguanas start falling from your trees and killing people.
They're frozen and they fall from the trees and they're dangerous. It's hilarious to watch.
Yeah, I would actually be really amused by that. No, it was 85 here this weekend. We were doing this like hiking trail and I was sweating. I got sunburned on Saturday. And then last night we had to turn the heat on because it was 40 degrees. It was crazy. So drinking my cab felt okay because it felt like winter. And now I don't even know what it's supposed to be today. But all that aside, because we're here to talk about working with suppliers and how to be a good partner to your suppliers so they will in turn be a good partner to you. It is a two-way street.
Absolutely. I think all too often we experience, maybe it's us in our positions, or maybe it's everyone that notices it, but I think all too often we notice people who are approaching the wrong partner when they're asking for something, or they're being obnoxious with their ask, or they're being lazy with their ask, like,
or having ridiculous expectations. Like,
yeah, exactly. Expecting someone to pull a rabbit out of a hat. Like that's not going to happen, right? Right. So we thought it would be an important topic of conversation just to kind of talk through supplier etiquette communications and what's the different way to approach and who to approach on each of these.
So by suppliers, for anyone newer, I always try to do that because I remember when I was new and I would hear these phrases or this whole new vocabulary of the travel industry, and I didn't always know what things meant. So I try to play that role here. Suppliers, we mean hoteliers, tour operators, insurance providers, and that could be anyone from like the BDM and corporate sales staff all the way down to the people on the ground in the hotel, like the sales manager, group sales manager, wedding manager, all those people. That all falls under the bucket of suppliers. That's how we're using it here today, at least.
Absolutely. So I guess from there, let's start with the easy topic. Let's talk BDMs.
Oh, well, that's probably the first person that someone newer to this industry has any contact with. The BDM is the person that business development manager, as the title would say, that's the person that represents the hotel brand, the insurance brand, the tour operator brand. There's all different kinds of BDMs, but their job is to build sales for that property or that entity, period. That is their job.
Right. I think it's very easy, especially for a newer advisor in the industry, to get the relationship with your BDM confused with a friendship, which I'm not saying a friendship can't exist.
Going right into it.
I'm not saying a friendship can't exist. I think they can exist, in any business relationship, right? You can become friends with the person that you're working with, but you also have to realize that the BDM's sole job is to sell their product.
Yeah. So they have goals on it. That's what their goals are, is sales of the hotel or the brand or whatever it is. So the friendship, this like parasocial friendships, this is such a weird topic right now because it happens with like everything. You can be friendly but that person, their job is to sell the property, and that person's job is not to just give you free things, which I think sometimes people really abuse that or expect that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A great BDM is going to create that relationship with you so that you feel comfortable not only with them, but you feel comfortable with the brand. But then also they're going to educate you on the properties. They're going to, any new developments, anything that's going on. I have one property right now that's experiencing some, without giving too much away, it's some turmoil, right? That's with,
That sound effect said it all. And for
yeah,
anyone watching, the look on Mario's face, I could tell what he wanted to say.
Yeah. And it was easy for me to reach out to my BDM and just say, hey, tell me the real story on this. What's going on?
Yeah.
And how are you guys addressing it? And right away, she came back with a response. This is what's going on. This is how it's being addressed. This is our role and, the expectations that we need to have within that, right?
Yeah. Well, you can do that though, because you've invested a lot of time into building that relationship. So that's like a tip if I could give to anyone who's coming into this and they say, I don't know who my BDMs are. I don't know how to talk to them. How do I find them? Step one, learn like the corporate structure of whoever it is you're working with. Like if you have a few hotels or a tour operator or a hotel brand that you work with over and over, most websites, most agent websites will have a like contact us or about us or some kind of page where you can go see who your person is. BDMs are typically organized regionally, not always, but for the most part regionally. So there's probably like a Southeast BDM, a Midwest BDM, a West Coast BDM, and that person's territory is your area, and they are responsible for all the agents in their territory. So just like it's their job to know who you are and what you're selling and what you're interested in, you should know who they are, who they report to, what that structure is, how they work with the properties. And if you don't know, these are perfectly fine questions to ask. They're like a great get to know you question. When your BDM reaches out and says, hey, I just wanted to introduce myself. How can I help? Get on the phone with them. Ask them these questions. Like, how do you like to work? What do you like to do? Who do you report to? What are your goals? And that's a good way to start building that relationship that you just mentioned.
Absolutely. I think that's one way that some BDMs that I work with, you just see them light up a little bit when you have that conversation. That when you ask them, like, what are your goals? I know you're coming to me. I know you're helping me sell your property, but what are your goals? What are you working towards? Because that shows a partnership, right? This is a two-way street. And so if you're supporting them in their goals, they're going to work hard to support you in your goals.
Mm-hmm. And it's an important question to ask up front because it also shows that you're serious about the business. And maybe you and I are probably a little like predisposed to this because of our old jobs, and we were in more like client service type roles where salespeople were coming at us all the time, and we knew that they had an agenda. They know that we have an agenda. We're just trying to get those agendas to line up so we can do something good for our client. And I think it's the same with BDMs. Like they have goals. They have numbers that they're trying to hit. We have goals. We have numbers that we're trying to hit. How can we find that overlap so we can work together and make it a business relationship? Back to your original point of, yes, you can be friendly, but it's a business relationship first and foremost. Right. So what are some things, as we've reached out to some of our BDM friends, as I just said, it's a business relationship, we reached out to a few and said, just anonymously, what are some of your pet peeves about working with travel advisors? What were some of your favorite responses?
So I think one of the big ones that came back was providing your BDM with all the correct information that they need to help you. So it's help me help you, right? Like if you reach out and I have this, wedding and there's a concern that I have about it and, I need it to be addressed, between me, the BDM and the property, because they can be a catalyst for that.
Yeah.
Make sure that they know this is the group. This is the tour operator that I have it booked with. This is the dates. This is the goal. This is what I need. It's something that you said before, and I can't remember if we were recording when you said it or not.
I don't think we were.
It's okay. But make sure that you are telling them exactly what you need them to do, exactly what you need the outcome to be as crystal clear as possible so that they can go to work and make sure that they have the full picture of what they're working toward. Because if you send them half-ass information, you're going to get a half-ass response.
So here, I'm going to give everybody a big old tip, a big insider tip.
Big old tip.
That sounded really inappropriate. Here we
Friday
are.
morning.
So I spent 15 years working in advertising before the last 10 working in travel. I'm old. I've been doing this a minute. The best tip that anybody ever gave me is when you are working with human beings, tell them what you want. Like, tell them what you need. So when I have, let's say there is a problem that I need a BDM's assistance with. First of all, make sure it's something they can actually help with, bing.
We'll
Like, and if you don't know, ask. Like, a good way to start is, I have the situation. I'm not sure if you're the right person, but I know you can point me in the right direction. Here's the situation. Explain the problem. Give all the relevant details, like you said, dates, if there's some kind of like booking number or wedding ID or like some kind of number, hotel, how it's booked, relevant details. Then what I would like from you or the desired outcome is like, just tell them what you want. So many people send these, like, because we see them in like Facebook groups and stuff like that. They post these big rambling sagas. And all I want to say is, so what do you want? Like, what do you want the outcome to be? And that's something that you can guide your BDM or a sales manager, anybody. Write effective emails where you describe the problem, give the relevant information, and then describe the desired outcome. Literally ask for what you want. And that will help someone do their job so much more effectively, because they're also not trying to read your mind at the same time.
Right.
Did you ever get that advice too? Like, we got that a lot on the agency side.
Oh yeah. It's one of the very first things I learned on the agency side, especially when I stepped into the account management role, is like clear, precise. This is what we need, because you have people who, just like all of us are busy. All of us have a million things that we're doing. I don't want to read your paragraph. I want you to take all the emotion out of it. Give me the facts. This is what's happening. This is what I need. This is, my timeline, and go. Like, that's it.
It sounds harsh, but it's like, I don't care about your feelings. Everybody's trip is important. Everyone's wedding is important. Yours isn't more than anybody else's. What is the problem? What do you need from me? How can I help you? Boom.
By the way, this is okay. Tangent. That's just for a second.
Shocker.
I have a mother of the bride right now who is booked on my calendar, wants to speak to me because they have like 20 people coming off property, which is unacceptable. And I've already told them this.
What country?
This is in Mexico.
Okay.
And she wants to talk about negotiating the date pass. Sweetheart, number one, I handle the room block, and you're talking about booking outside of my room block. So no. It's secondly, it's in the contract. I showed you in writing, 10% of the room block can only be outside the room block. So tell those people they can't come or book within a room block. Anyways, so that
but that's where you have to say, we're talking about effective communication with BDMs, but that is a perfect example the other way, where we have to go to the client and say, like, here's the situation. The contract says this. These are the parameters. You have done this, for the contract says A, you have done B. Your choices are 1, 2, 3. Pick one. Like, you have to like spell it out for people sometimes, because then they just, need to see what all their options are. Negotiate. Oh my gosh. This, one of the BDMs that we asked for help this morning is still texting. So apparently we've touched a nerve, because now it's rolling in. This is like BDM Anonymous confessions.
Yeah. What is some of the stuff that your BDMs have said? And I'm gonna step 2 feet off the camera here, because my carafe is 2 feet out of my reach.
Oh yeah, because it's time for more coffee, because we need to be more caffeinated.
Exactly.
Okay, so we talk working with BDMs. I'm going to summarize as we go. First of all, know who they are, what their goals are, who they are, who they are. I said that twice. What their goals are and what they can do for you. Like, their purview, like what's within their job description to do or not. Like, understanding that is very important. And if you don't know, ask them. Second of all, when you reach out to them for help, communicate effectively. Describe the situation, give all the details they need, tell them what you want the desired outcome to be, but the end, like, communicate effectively and efficiently. What some of the other responses that I got back, and this is a big one for me too, like when I see this happen, I always cringe. How many times have you gone to like an agent event, like an industry event in town where there's lots of people, and the first question that someone asks is, how do I get free nights? Or do you have an agent program? Like, the agents that are just obviously asking for free stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It it puts a bad taste in people's mouth instantly. And I don't think that's how you want to be remembered as an advisor.
No, and I think some of our BDMs are so good at their jobs, so effective at what they do, that I would rather see them flex with other things, with information, with, this is how we get it done the right way, blah, 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 instead of talking about free nights and perks and things like that. Like, it comes with the partnership or it doesn't, but you don't need that information in the middle of a FAM. That'll
or
be
in like a cocktail hour or a dinner or something. Right. Like, if you don't know what questions to ask BDMs, sometimes we're just not good at thinking of questions on the spot. I get that. I'll give you some. So don't make your first question to a BDM, do you have an agent program or is there free nights? It just makes you look tacky and it makes you look like you're not professional. And it's not a good look. What you can ask is, who do you consider your competition? Mm-hmm. That's a great question to ask. Like when we're talking about hotels or insurance providers or other brands, who do you guys consider your competition is a great question. Who do you consider your ideal guest? Like your ideal customer, your ideal guest? How are you planning to grow over the next years? Are you building out your clientele at the same hotels, or are you going to be building more hotels? If you're building more hotels, what countries are they going to be in? Are they going to be the same like demographic, or are you trying to expand to a different demographic? Like I can probably come up with like 10 questions you can ask a BDM that have nothing to do with an agent program or getting stuff for free that will make you sound intelligent and like you care about their business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think one of my favorite BDMs I've been on a couple FAMs with her because, we go check out different properties, but her approach is not only educating agents on the property itself, but also how do you use the assets that these provide to you? How do you use it most effectively? And so she'll take an hour out of her, FAM trip, just to sit down with agents and be like, hey, here's the media portal. Go in here, grab this. This is your post. This is how you write towards it. Schedule them out, for the month, and you're done. Like she's helping you not only learn the product, but also
your business too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is great, because then she's showing you, this is how we want you to talk about our properties. Mm-hmm. We don't want your slapped together bullshit post with some blurry picture. Like here's the assets we're giving you. You know what I mean? Like here, we are giving you the assets. We are telling you how to talk about it. These are the key points we want you to say. Like they're giving you, so many of these brands like give us everything we need. And yeah, you don't have to use it. You can make your own, you can do your own. But if you don't have your own, or if there's something specific you want to say, those portals can be really helpful. So she sounds like a great BDM because she's showing the agents all the assets that are available to them, like all the tools that they can use, which is great. And that's a good question too. If you don't know what questions to ask, do you have a media library? Are we allowed to post these pictures? How often is it updated? Or if you want to get feedback on that, there's two things that I generally ask for when I see those portals. Hey, why don't you have any pictures that are not just straight white people? I am really good about asking for that, because so many of those portals are just not representative of the world. And sometimes they need to hear that. Like they don't know, right? It's a blind spot for them. Mm-hmm. So when you can say, hey, this portal is great. Do you have any other photos of XYZ? That's feedback that BDM can take back to the brand, and they probably can help you with that request.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing to remember with BDMs, and for those listening, I promise we are going to talk about things other than BDMs, but this is
not. That's the topic of the episode.
Or like tour operators, hotel partners, like we'll go into all that. But
yeah,
it's the BDMs you also have to remember, like on this asset conversation, and it's some of the things that they can help you with. They're also not there to be a replacement for you doing your job.
No, don't be lazy.
Don't be lazy.
I want to sing that, like, don't be suspicious. Don't be I want to make it like a "Don't Be Lazy" song. Do your job.
I really think that you and I should remake that when we're on property. I think it's hilarious.
If someone doesn't hire us to like MC an awards show by the end of this run, I will be disappointed. We have failed if someone doesn't ask us to do that. Don't be lazy. To your point, is your BDM is there to help you with your goals. They are not there to do your job. So you have some skin in the game too. And that was another bullet point that one of the people we reached out to brought. And this person actually said it just point blank, like, listen, I'm there to support you. I'm not there to do your job. Like, you have to know who you're talking to. You have to know who your ideal clients are. You have to know, like what your objectives are. We can't build your business for you. We can help, we can support you, we can answer questions, but we're not there to build your business for you. So you have to have some skin in the game too.
Absolutely. And so that then leads us into things that you should be asking your BDM and things that you shouldn't, right? Because there's other partners that you can reach out to based on what you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
For example, you have a room block and, mother of the bride that shows up and gets a double bed instead of a king bed. It's in her.
Tragic.
Your BDM is not.
Ending.
It's the end of the trip. It's horrible. It's the entire thing is ruined. It's
what a tragedy. I shouldn't joke because it is a big, like, sometimes it is a big deal, especially if you have if family situations that need separate beds or vice versa. It's our honeymoon and they got double bed. Like, I shouldn't make light of that. It is kind of a minor thing in the grand scheme, but sometimes it can be a really big deal, and it doesn't matter because in that moment to that client, it's a huge deal, and our job is to address that. But you wouldn't go to your BDM for that, is what you're trying to say.
Exactly. Yeah. That's not something that the BDM should be handling. They've got other things to worry about. That's other things that we need to, focus on, but that's something now you can shift towards your hotel partner, right?
Correct. Okay. So we're getting off the BDM track. You know how we should have done this episode? We should have had like witness protection, voice changer, like anonymous people, like anonymous BDM, anonymous hotel manager. That would have been amazing. Okay. So when to go to the hotel? Generally speaking, you go to your BDM when it's like, I don't understand the brand. What properties do you have? Who is this a good fit for? I have a problem with registering bookings, like something like that. The sales manager or the group sales manager at the hotel, those are the people you go to when someone is in destination and you have a situation that needs to be handled there that day in the destination. If you go to your BDM for that, all they're going to do is go to the person at the hotel. So why not also build relationships at the hotels that you book the most?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's important to have those relationships. I can't tell you how many situations that we didn't cause, but we are in the middle of it, because of the way that something is booked, right?
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I think we're going to say the same thing. Like when you had that bedding situation, did you go to the tour operator or did you go to the hotel?
I start with the tour operator.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, truly.
And so that brings up another topic about not going over any one person's head, right?
Yeah.
Like when you have a hotel partner, you have a tour operator, you have a BDM, you have all these different, a groups coordinator, a wedding coordinator. When you have all of these people working together to try and get a room block put together, right? You need to make sure that you're not stepping over someone's head to get something done. So although, yes, it might be easier to go directly to the hotel, especially if you have a good relationship with them. If a tour operator is involved, it's the tour operator is the next stop.
Well, because they're supposed to advocate for you, and that's what they're getting paid to do. And just to go behind the scenes for 1 second, if someone's new and doesn't understand this, the hotel pays the tour operator a commission, and we get, as agents, a split of that commission. So if your end commission is, say, like 15%, that hotel is probably paying the tour operator 20, and then we're getting like 15 of that. Like, that's how it works. So the tour operator is making money. I'm making money as the agent. Everyone has skin in the game. The tour operator is getting a cut of that. They have the 24-hour support. They have the relationships with the right people. Technically, for something like that, you should go to the tour operator first and let them advocate on your behalf. That's what they're getting paid to do. But I'm not going to lie, like there are times when I just cut to the chase and go to the hotel directly, or I copy them both together, depending on the urgency of the situation.
I've had to do that once, and it was nasty on all parts.
Oh, no one likes it when you do that. And you look like an asshole. Like, let's be real. Like, you do. But sometimes it's needed.
And sometimes you just have to play that card. But
what was the situation where you had to do that?
Oh, I couldn't even tell you. I don't remember. Yeah. I mean, this was probably a year ago now. but it was something like people were in destination, things weren't getting done. And so I copied everyone in. I'm like, hey, listen, we made this request so and so long ago. It's like no one's responding. I don't know if it's the hotel or I don't know if it's the tour operator, but I'm not getting an answer. So now everyone here, we're on the same email. You guys let me know where we're falling.
Yeah, I've had to do that before. We had a situation where, so it used to be when you had room blocks that if the room block grew beyond its original size, you could add rooms in at the same rate. Like it was just a given. That used to just be how it worked. It's not that way anymore. Like post pandemic, there's no longer that. It's no longer assumed that you can add rooms at the same rate. Sometimes they are at different rates. And we had a situation where I needed more rooms. It was right on the cusp of when this was changing. It was vague in the contract. The contract didn't say either way, which didn't help anybody, but we needed to add a few rooms and the tour operator wasn't getting a good response from the hotel. And so I did just go to the hotel and I was like, listen, they're trying to contact you. This is what we want. This is what we're getting. I need you to help me because this wasn't clear. What can we do to resolve this for everybody? So we all don't have to keep talking about this. Like, let's just nip it in the bud now. So you have to save those like extreme situations, like save it for when you really need it because it's not good. But that is why you need to build relationships at all levels with all different people so you know who to go to.
And that brings up another great topic is about don't be the advisor who cried wolf. Like it's there are times when you need to sound the alarm, and there are times when you just need to sit back, wait for an answer, make sure that that things again are following the right chain of command. I couldn't think of it for a second. It's and so you really only want to pull that alarm if you absolutely have to.
Like someone's health and safety are in danger. Something is, very wrong. Like someone booked a presidential suite and got a tropical view, like something is like extreme. Like you have to like save those cases for something extreme. For on the ground issues, I really try not to involve the BDM at all unless it's something major because I don't want to get that reputation. I don't want that reputation of, oh, well, here's Ashley. She complains about everything because then they don't know when I'm serious. Like if I'm reaching out to them all the time about little ankle biter stuff, then they don't know when I'm serious, which brings me to another anonymous pet peeve from one of our anonymous supplier partners.
They're gonna listen to this and they're gonna be like, you could
this person said, when people go onto social media and stir up trouble.
Ooh.
Like, yeah, when they post an issue in a group and, it's wah this happened, my BDM didn't do anything, blah, blah, blah. And then you know how it is. Everyone piles on with all their drama. And now this hotel chain or this tour operator has this shit show to deal with that could have been handled offline in a very direct conversation had the agent not created drama.
And so it's important on that note to not burn bridges. Calling someone out on social is a great way to burn a bridge.
Listen, people, the world is small.
Well, and not that it should happen. I mean, all these groups that we're in, they have rules, right? You're not supposed to screenshot. You're not supposed to, all these things. But let me tell you, it gets back to them. Like
100%.
It's because they have their loyalists. They have people that just are, either feel close to them or, are a big believer in the brand or coming with good intentions to be like, hey, you might want to know that this is going on, but it just creates that person's not going to be that advocate for you if they know that you're out there talking trash about
because you just made more work for them. You just made unnecessary negative ROI work for them. Like no one wants to spend their time dealing with that. And you just created it. Here's a good example of how you can handle that differently. So a few years ago, I had clients who were at a hotel in Cabo, and the client is actually someone I used to work with at Target. So she's someone I know really well and we're friends. So I probably got more information from her than I would from like a normal stranger client. But she just texted me and she's like, hey, it looks like there's some kind of strike going on. And she sent me a couple of pictures. And sure enough, the hotel workers were on strike outside of the hotel. Okay, that's a weird situation. I don't really know where this is going to go. Mm-hmm. I had the choice in that moment of going to my BDM directly and saying, hey, do you know anything about this? Quietly, Or I could have posted it in a Facebook group and been like, my client said that the hotel is on strike and no one's getting anything and we're all going to die. The place is going to burn down. Like just because then all these people would say, well, I have clients there too. Or, oh my gosh, I have clients arriving tomorrow. Like, and it would just explode. And it turns out it was like I'm trying to think of the word. It was just like a demonstration purposes. It lasted 20 minutes. It was done. They did like a short strike just for like demonstration purposes to get their point across. They folded up their signs, they put it all away. 20 minutes later, it was business as usual. But if I had posted that in that Facebook group, that would have lived on for a week. Like that would have people would have piled on, and that would have created so much work for that BDM. And so in the moment when I reached out to them and said, hey, do you know anything about this? She said, hey, I called the manager. This is what it is. It's already over. It's done. Thank you so much for not sharing that publicly, because that would have blown up my whole weekend.
Yeah.
So don't be that person. There's a real life example.
That's perfect. And that kind of leads me back to that same situation I was telling you about before. That's, with the hotel that's experiencing some turmoil right now. It's like, yes, we can all talk about it, but get the actual answer, find out what's going on.
Don't be an alarmist.
Yeah. So, it's just different ways to go about that. But
back to your world, like, don't burn bridges. It's a small industry. These sales managers, group sales managers, hotel managers, wedding managers, BDMs, it's a recirculating pool. If you are not watching, I am making this like swirling motion with my hands. Your BDM at Playa tomorrow is going to work at AIC next year. Like it's just a small industry with kind of a limited expertise and skill set. And so people are going to move around. Sometimes that's the only way for them to climb the ladder in their career, to move up is to move around. And so your reputation is the only thing you have in this business. And that's going to follow you, whether this person is a junior, sales assistant at X hotel, because next year they could be your sales manager somewhere else.
Well, and that same thing applies. That's to, the weddings departments, all these people, it just circulates. Like I can't tell you how many people that I've had at one hotel in, one moment, and then all of a sudden they've moved to another hotel or entire departments.
And they remember. Yeah. They remember, like you and I both have wedding planner friends, in different parts of the world that have been at multiple different properties. And there's a shorthand. It's so much easier to work with them. They know you, you know them. They're lying if they say that we don't float to the top of the pile, because they know who we are. It makes your life easier when you're kind, when you respect their time, when you communicate effectively, when you ask for what you need. And when you're responsive to them, like don't leave them hanging either. And by the same token, if you do the negative of everything I just said, they're going to remember you in a negative way too. And that's not good.
Yeah, absolutely. I have one hotel partner right now that, they try, but they don't specialize in weddings. And so
there's people that check the box. They like offer weddings to check the box and say that they do weddings, but they suck.
Right. Yeah. And so that's one thing I'm trying to balance right now, not being the one that cries wolf, not being disrespectful, also being very direct and saying this needs to happen.
Yeah.
That's, and so I may not have been great with that couple of these times, but
here I am making this podcast about giving advice. You're like, I'm watching you in the moment. I didn't handle that very well. But you know what? That is okay too, because there's some humility in that, to be able, like, if it all happens, sometimes we don't handle things very well, and to be able to go back to that person and say, listen, I'm sorry, I didn't handle that very well. Here's, I think, a better resolution, and just explain it. I've had to do that before. I had someone I reached out to, I think it was like the day we found out about Will, and like, like everything else. And and I was in a mental state where I didn't need to be working at all, but I had to. And so I kind of fired an email at someone, and it was kind of barky, because I was just trying to like get to the point. Yeah. And later I realized how it sounded, and I did go back and I was like, hey, I'm really sorry for how that sounded. I'm going through some stuff. Here's what's happening. Let me say this in a better way. Can we start over? And she wrote back. She was like, absolutely. I understand. Thank you for saying that. Like, she was very kind in her response. And that's what we have to remember, is just everyone's a human being. Like, everyone is a human being. We don't know what they're going through in their personal life or what's happening. So just treating people with respect and kindness when you're asking for things goes a long way.
my approach to this hotel partner that I'm, having troubles with is more so about, I sent them an email. The wedding is now done. So I
Okay,
sent them an email saying, hey, why don't we schedule some time where we can sit down and talk about what the expectations are here?
perfect.
Because I want to make sure that I understand how you guys operate so that I can deliver the same quality product that I deliver to all my other, couples at your hotel. And so we're sitting down and having that meeting, and yeah, things got a little barky, but it happens.
It happens. I think it's just, it happens, and things get lost in translation, sometimes quite literally in our situation, dealing with language barriers and whatnot. And those conversations are really helpful. But I know there is someone listening to this right now saying, I do not have the time to build relationships with all these hotels and all these people and all that. No, you don't. You're right. So start with the ones you do the most.
Yeah.
Look at the hotel chains that you book the most, the ones that are most aligned with your ideal client, the people, the ones that seem to get it, and start small. Like start small, start now with the ones you have. You can always add in more relationships over time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it is impossible. Nobody has time to do all that. I'm looking at our notes for other things that people submitted. The don't posting things on social media to create chaos. That's a big one. Oh, here's another one that someone said. Basically said, get over it. I don't care if something happened in 2020. You don't need to bring it up every single time. That was from a hotel person and a BDM together that said that. Yeah, I get it. Because guess what? 2020 and hotel timelines was like lifetimes ago. That was
Policies change, teams change. Like it's just because something happened doesn't mean it's a pattern. If it's a pattern, then that needs to be addressed, right? But if something happened one time, like let it go, move on.
Yeah.
It's
just, I don't know. And I think we see that too. Sometimes it's just, yes, something didn't happen the way that it should have. And I'm sorry that happened and that sucks, but it can't be like your whole personality going forward. Like it can't, because just things will change. And because of the industry being small and the world being small, there's only so many hotels. There's only so many tour operators. And guess what? They seem to be like consolidating and shrinking by the day. So you've got to just get past some things and move on. And when you know better, you'll do better. Now you know what to look out for next time.
Absolutely. Well, I think the moral of the story is just that's be a partner to your partners, right? That's whether it's the hotel or the weddings department or, BDM or tour operator, you need to make sure that you are approaching it from a business perspective, non-emotionally, try to be as effective with your communication as possible. Understanding that, yes, all of these people are going to try and help you reach your goals, but you are also in return going to have to try and help them reach theirs. We're all working together to make sure that it's mutually beneficial.
Be a partner to your partners. Know who's important. Like know who these partners are. Know who their bosses are. Know what their goals are and who's important in the whole ecosystem of things. That goes a long way. Just knowing what people's goals are and what their goals and roles. Oh, it rhymes. That is what you should know for people. And then be a good partner to them. Just be a human being.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick is kind of really just a good thing for everybody to follow.
Yeah.
Why not? We all have a job we're trying to do. And that's the thing is this is someone's job. It's just a job. And we're all just trying to do our job and do what's right for our clients. And we can do it in a way with a lot more empathy and kindness than creating chaos for someone. Be respectful of people's time and their energy, and that will go a long, long way.
Absolutely.
And don't ask for free nights first thing.
Do it on the slide. Do it on the side.
I mean, at least make it like your third question. Right. Just don't come right out with it. It makes you look slutty. It does. I have no idea what people are going to think about this episode, but
there's a lot of profanity being tossed around, and it's why we've successfully earned this explicit rating. And
every time,
I'm proud of it. I like the badge.
Just sneak it in the end because we didn't get it at the beginning. So
I feel like any product coming from you and I is automatically going to have an explicit rating on it, and I'm okay with that.
We should show people the Christmas card I sent you. If there's an Easter egg, if someone hears this and wants to know, just ask and I'll show you.
I'm actually, speaking of, I'm pretty sure that is still sitting on my credenza downstairs. I think
Oh, I thought it
like
was going to be at your parents' house still.
no, I think I liked it so much that I put it up when I got home and it's still there. That's
Oh my God, we're inappropriate. Okay, so we are wrapping this one up. Always a good conversation. We have just a couple more episodes of this season, and then you and I are getting ready to start something really huge. So we should talk about that.
Absolutely. So we've talked about it a little bit before, but just a reminder for everyone, we are launching the new course for the playbook at the end of May. And so it's going to be a 15 lesson course. There's going to be some additional content in there as well, where we go through all these topics that we talk about in much greater depth, believe it or not. It's
Much greater depth and much less profanity.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. The playbook is broken down into 4 modules. It's going to be niche, just kind of identifying destination weddings, why we do destination weddings, what they are. We talk about attraction, so attracting your ideal client, making sure that you are attracting people that you want to work with, and that you know who that is. Conversion, so once you get them into your funnel, how to convert them into a final sale. And then lastly, automation, automating your company. That's, I think, again, I don't think we were recording when we said this before, but it's automating your company is the way that you scale your business. So yeah, when people are, they talk to us and they're like, hey, you guys are hosting the podcast and running the playbook and, doing all these other things. And by the way, you're telling me that you do 35 to 50 weddings a year. That's, I call bullshit. No, it is possible. It's, there's ways to get your company there. And these are the things that we talk about, especially in that automation section of the playbook, to make sure that you are being as efficient as possible in your business.
That's the most life-changing part for me. So for anyone who doesn't know, I was in the original Destination Wedding Playbook course, Playbook 1, back in 2018. Is that when we decided that was 2018? Yeah, so yeah. 6 years ago. That module was the single biggest life changer for me. And Mary Beth even said this when we had her on, which was an episode before this. She got her business down to where she was only working 20 hours a week. And Mary Beth has a solid business. And that is why she was also able to free up space to take on her passion project, which is the assistants that work, because she made her travel business as efficient as possible, got that down to where it only needed her really about 20 hours a week, and started a whole second business. You don't have to start a whole second business. You could just have a life. You can spend more time with your kids. You can go on vacation and actually go on vacation and not be that girl that has your laptop at the beach, which we've all been. Like, it's just, the automation part was the most life-changing for me, but it comes last for a reason, because you have to have the foundation of the other things in the program. So you have to understand niche, attraction, conversion before you can get to automation. So like Mario said, 15 lesson program with some bonus content. It's going to be taught live this time. So if you would like to hang out with us on Tuesday nights, starting at the end of May, you will get all this and more. And we'll have the link for that.
It's
in the notes. Oh yeah, cocktails are welcome. I think that's a requirement. Cocktails, mocktails, whatever you need.
Whatever works. It's just one of the things that's, you talked about Mary Beth in the previous episode. Also, in coming episodes, we're going to be talking with some of the playbookers, past playbookers, who have done everything that you and Mary Beth and Will and myself have done. It's implementing all these things into their businesses, and then them being able to scale their business, a lot of them leaving their full-time jobs to be able to do this full-time. We're going to be talking to some of these people that are real life examples of what, why we do the playbook, what, high tides raise all ships, right? Community over competition. So we really want to tell these stories and have people realize that you can be doing this smarter and more efficiently, and maintaining the little bit of sanity that you have left. I know I have none, but that's That's beside
No,
the
it
point.
works. I was smiling because a high tide raises all ships. That's a Brad Simmons saying, who Mario and I have someone in common that we both know from when we both lived in Wisconsin. And he used to say that at work all the time. And that was the first time I'd ever heard that expression. And I was always like, I don't get it. What does that mean? Rising tide lifts all boats. So that was a Brad Simmons in. He'll never hear this.
Hi, Brad. We'll send it to him.
He does. Oh, that's funny. The playbook is for anyone. Sometimes people ask me, is it only if I'm new? Like, do I have to be new? No. I wasn't new when I took it, and it still changed my business. Also, sometimes people will ask, do I have to do weddings? It is geared around weddings, but remember that a wedding is just a group. Like a wedding is just a group. So if you're interested in group travel of any kind and building out a group's travel business, there's a lot to apply here as well. So take that for what it's worth.
Absolutely.
Very soon, just a few weeks away.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. The playbook is a year-long program, but you don't have to wait until we launch the course to sign up. So go to jointheplaybook.com now. Sign up. That way, as soon as the live courses launch, you are there, established, ready to go. You'll be in the Inner Circle Facebook group that's joining in all the conversations, having the happy hour sessions with us, where we sit down and go through Q&A. We bring in partners that are speaking towards some of these supplier partners that we are talking about today. Yeah,
and you get all the past content too. So anytime you join the playbook, you do get all the past recorded content. So this will be playbook class number 6. There were 5 iterations before that you have access to look at the past content. So there's no reason to wait. Get started, get a jump on things.
Absolutely.
That's all. I'm such a great salesperson.
That's all.
Hang out with us. It's fun. If you want to have fun and make more money, it's the place for you.
Absolutely. All right, Ashley, thank you so much as always.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Mario.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Running a travel business may have its challenges, but with a dash of humor, the right tools, an amazing community, and a lot of wine, success awaits us all. Raise a glass with us and toast to your remarkable journey.
Don't forget, if you're ready to take the next step in your travel career, one where you can focus on developing your niche, attracting leads, converting them into new clients, and automating your systems, you can build the business of your dreams. If you're ready, join us in the Playbook Inner Circle at jointheplaybook.com. We can't wait to see you inside.